or say 5. To refuse this call, hang up now. To block this call and all future calls, this call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Omar, man, it's good to hear your voice.
How's it going, man?
It's going all right. Just real quick, we had have I ever mentioned to you CMU prisons? There's one in Terre Haute, Indiana, or Marion, Illinois.
Terre Haute, Indiana?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about it?
Well, anyway, we were communicating with a prisoner. It's a CMU prison. It stands for Communications Management Unit. And he was murdered in that prison recently, and there's very little coverage about it in the press. But I just, it's shocking,
that
man.
happens all the time.
Yeah.
Well, it was a USP, right? I believe. United States Penitentiary?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, you know, that's probably what they're probably going to send me to a USB as well, you know, just knowing how much they hate me. But, you know, what I realize, man, is I'm not worried regardless of how long the sentence is or where I go, you know, because at the end of the day, I realize, you know, I've been thinking that it doesn't matter because it's God's will regardless for whatever reason. So I have to be happy and accept it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I hope not. You know, I hope I don't get any more time. But you know, at the end of the day, I just have to accept. You know, it's God's will. So,
yeah.
You know, I've been praying, but.
Well, I hope you get out of there. I hope the Lord sends an angel and busts you out of there tonight. But if that doesn't happen, then I pray that you don't get any, you know, as much time as they want to give you. That it's absolutely terrible that they're asking for all this time, and it's obvious you're not a violent person. You're no threat to society. They don't get anything out of keeping you in prison except a bunch of money because they want the prisons to be full. But yeah.
Who was this that passed away in the prison?
His name is Robert David Neal. He was a Christian friend of Schaefer Cox, and I think the warden sets up situations where, you know, prisoners get killed, and it's all done because the wardens and the guards are psychopaths. They almost get a kick out of watching violent confrontations between the prisoners. That's what I believe. But there's very little coverage. There's very little coverage, so everything is kind of you know, you're kind of guessing.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. You know,
yeah.
I hear these kind of crazy stories all the time, man. And it's just it's a gladiator school here, man. You know what I'm saying? And,
yeah.
But you know, like I said, all we can do is pray and have faith in God, and just you know when you do that, you know. Angels are beside you, you know what I'm saying? And,
yeah.
And they protect you from any harm. So, you know, like I said, I'm not worried about anything. And everywhere I go, I've had a lot of respect. And, you know, what's funny is I'm hearing so many people even come from, like, the Bureau of Prisons. And they're like, oh, I've heard about your case.
Wow.
So I guess there's hundreds and thousands of people, like, I hear it all the time. Like, hey, man, I've heard about your case. And, you know, about the expired law and this and that. And, you know, it's funny because they're like, oh, yeah, I've read your case law. I've read your situation, man. And, you know, because of that, a lot of people respect me no matter what walk of life they are, you know. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, when you're trying to, you know, show some injustice going on and you're trying to make things right in society, you know, of course, people that are being oppressed are going to appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but hey, you know, I'm just calling because, you know, it's I don't have too much money on the phone lately, but wanted to call and say, you know, what's going on. I'm trying to show right now to the court that, for example, there's some other people in a similar situation as me who have been charged the same charge, you know, but who have had longer of a criminal history than me, you know what I'm saying, and have done worse stuff like a guy in here who had shot somebody in the casino, same gun charge as me, but he got a 54 month sentence, I'm sorry. You know, so, and then another guy who shot somebody in his previous crime and had a gun charge and had more of a history than me, got 51 month sentence. So, I'm going to show the court, like, why would I deserve more than these people who've actually shot people? You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
But get about 50-something months. So if I was to get more, then, where's the justification in that, So hopefully they consider that, and I can put that on the record and, show these things. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's in God's hands. So
Hey, Omar, have you ever heard of a guy by the name of Trevor Aronson? Does that ring a bell?
No.
He's a Muslim dude, and he wrote a book called The Terror Factory, Inside the FBI's Manufactured War on Terrorism. And he gave a speech on TED Talks called How the FBI Strategy is Actually Creating U.S.-Based Terrorists. And he talks about how bad the criminal justice system is. I think it might be good if you get a chance to write him a letter, because he's put movies together. He created a movie called Terror Error, and he talked about how the FBI goes into the Muslim community and sets up people and makes criminals when there is none. And he just seems like somebody who might want to know about your case. The only problem is he don't have a writing address that I can give you. He only has like an email address. So I could send him an email and just say, here is your address, and ask him to write you and see if he writes you a letter, So
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I remember you sent me that book, but it was a hardcover, so I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. Thanks for the greeting card you sent me, man.
Yeah, no, my wife does that. I'm glad you got it. She'll be glad to hear you got it. She took all day long, and I'm glad you got that, man.
Hey, what was made me really happy and joyful about getting that card is I saw a dove on there, right? And no lie, I've had within that same day or the couple days before, I've been seeing the same sign of like a dove, whether it's in a book I pick up or a commercial, or in that greeting card. So when I seen that, it made me happy because in my eyes I believe it's a sign from God saying just to show me that the Spirit is with me,
Yeah, no, that's great. No, my wife and I, that's wonderful, man. And my wife and I, we have little things like that happen all the time, that there's just coincidences that happen as we live our life that we believe is a sign from God, that He's kind of saying, you're on the right path, keep doing what you're doing, and don't lose faith, that kind of thing. So.
I don't know if I shared this with you guys, and I don't want to sound like a nut, but a couple years back when the Bundys were here with me,
yeah,
I shared it with them, but when they were in the unit, so it was late night, I couldn't sleep, I was reading, and like I said, it sounds crazy, but I actually seen like a light shoot from I'm in a dorm living, so it was like a light ray that shot from where I was at to the other side of the room, and I looked over, and there was this other Mexican guy. He was like drawing, right? And I looked at him and I said, "Did you see that?" And he says, "Yes, I just seen a dove of light, a light of dove, or what? Like a bird of light." That's what he said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Just shoot across. I didn't see it as an actual bird, but I seen the light. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That's a miracle for both of us to see that at the same time. And like I said, that was a couple years back, and it just reminds me now every time I see like a dove. Even my mother, she told me that means it's like a spirit or angels. That it's a sign. So
yeah.
I don't know. It makes me happy though. You know what I mean? It's,
Amen. We serve a mighty living God, and I don't. There is nothing our God is that's impossible. He can do anything He wants to do. He's sovereign, and
right.
I believe it, man. If you're telling me it, I believe you.
Yeah, it's remarkable, man. It really is. But for both of us to see, I wish I could call that guy and put him on the line, But it was crazy. It really was. Hey,
but, can you remind me again when your date is? Do you have a date that's been picked, or do you think they'll postpone it again, or?
No, well, the sentencing is in a couple weeks, and like I said, I'm just going to go forward and see what happens. I'll let you guys know what happens, and hopefully, like I said, I'm calling from the streets,
Right.
But, you know, like I said, either way, it doesn't even matter. At this point, the worst case scenario, in my view, would be another 2-3 years max, you know, after calculating good time or doing some counseling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Getting some time knocked off. That's like, or winning an appeal. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. So they've already taken 4 years of my life. What else could they really? They've already punished me. I've already, you know, served what I believe is more than just. You know, I mean, even if, like I said, even if I did believe it was a crime, but regardless, you know, it just should be over, you know? Should have been over, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
like I said, everything happens for a reason. I don't know now why, but you know, the knowledge and the experience that I've learned, the people I've met, you know, and the end result, you know, like I said, it's all for the good. However horrible it is, good will always come at the end, you know? And, you know, the Bible teaches that, and of course, you know, in times of trouble, there's always good at the end, you know?
Yeah.
For everybody, so.
Well, the Bible does say that we will have tribulation, and our test is to be obedient and faithful to God, even unto death. And you're going through one heck of a tribulation, Omar. There's no doubt about it. But you know, just keep your faith in God, because I believe that's very, very important.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. Just wanted to call in, you know, say hi and kind of see what's going on. But, you know, I'll keep in touch, man, and I'll let you guys know what's the end result, man, you know?
Okay.
Coming up, so.
Okay, man.
Pray for me, and
we will.
Appreciate everything.
No problem. God bless you, Omar.
Right.
God bless you. It's good to hear from you.
All right. You too. You guys take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.